Watch out. Coming in hot. Certified foundational Black American freedmen. Please stand up. Represent where you from. I need it all, family. I need the whole damn thing. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's make this clear, fam. We built this country. We from this country. And we run this country. Check, check, check. And if you do not respect, your ass will get G-check. All the way live, all the way across the board. That's what it is. And all the tethers out there, let's make this clear. I don't give a damn where you from. This is certified foundational Black Americans, and we run in everything. This is a Black American summer. This belongs to us. They talk about a diaspora war. Ain't no diaspora war. No, it's just foundational Black Americans being the best and everybody else hating on it. Because it seems like everywhere I look and everywhere I go, I see a dusty tether trying to steal my flow. And you can't have none. That's the type of time we on. So family, I want everybody to represent. Any tether out there listening, because I know y'all are, because you wake up and you think about us every single day, all right, with your ashy ankles and your ashy fingernails and your ashy ass elbows. I know foundational Black Americans stay on your mind all the time. If you want to come up, come on up. But let me make this clear. We right here, we delineate at 110%, not 33rd, not 44, not 55, all right? This is full-time, full swing, because nobody's going to stand on business like we stand on business. Nobody's going to represent like we represent. Families like this, you're going to be foundational Black Americans, or these folks is going to try to erase us. And ain't nobody going to shed no damn tears about us when we gone, because they don't shed no tears today. Don't expect somebody to care when you out of here, when these folks don't care when you are here right now. The dominant society said anybody want to come to this country and anybody want to replace Black Americans, and you seen about 150 ashy ass hands go up in the air, and they all want it. So as I told everybody, and I stand on this and I mean this, when I say we boycotting everything, I mean everything. Because remember, y'all, foundational Black Americans, if we don't provide these people any assistance, these folks starve. And right now they starving, because y'all know the motto. That is foundational Black Americans keep on winning and tethers keep on swimming. And only this time you swimming your ass right on back to your homeland. This is a Black American summer. I got my brothers and sisters in here with me, and we going to work. Anybody want to come on up? Come on up. But let it be known, we run this damn thing. Checkmate. My brother Marcel, are you there, my brother?
Hey, yep, I'm here. How are you?
I'm great, brother. The floor is yours, family.
Nope, everything you said, I agree with. I'm ready to get this conversation started.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Y'all been seeing everything that's been going on. Y'all been seeing it. Everybody's always talking about these people having issues with us. Everybody's always talking about some type of problems going on out there. But they've been real bold lately, ain't they? These tethers been extra bold. See, the dominant society be out here snatching these people up. They ain't got no problem with that. Dominant society be out there jumping from vans, throwing these people in handcuffs. They ain't got no problem with that. The thing is you come to America and you try to assimilate into Black American culture with a white supremacist mentality. These people do not like us. It's spite, jealousy, and envy, and vitriol. All of the above. That's how they feel. Because these people deep down inside, they want to be like us. And by the way, let me say this. Tethers have no culture. All right. Tethers have no culture. They try to say that we ain't got no culture, but yet we set the culture for the whole planet. You got folks in Japan over there acting like they from Memphis. All right. Foundational Black Americans got it all. I just seen them all trying to be Tupac. His name was Too Black. From Nigeria or some goddamn where. So no, tethers ain't got no culture, and tethers are xenophobic. Okay, let's go there. And by the way, they can't even spell xenophobic. And by the way, on top of that, so y'all see how they come over here and they basically act like Karens, and they come over here and talk about how mean we are to them. I'm gonna say this to all the tethers out there: you ain't nothing but some pussies. Only a grown person who's always playing victim and talking about you being mean to me. You ain't never talking about the dominant society is some type of mean person. When they out here cracking you across the head with a billy club, you get mad at us. If you are grown and you fled your homeland, which means you left Mrs. Fufu number 557 back in your village, you're a C. If you come over here and get snatched up by Mayo Matthew and you cry to me, if you on TikTok, a TikTok tether having TikTok tantrums, you are a C. And foundational Black Americans, we don't respect no damn C. So go ahead, you can hold that, because I know you're running around here talking about, y'all said I'm a booty scratcher in the 3rd grade. Half y'all didn't come here until y'all was about 17 years old any damn way. Now I know in your village, you may be 17 in the 3rd grade. I understand that, but we don't do that here in America, okay? So if that made you mad, then let this make you even more mad. If you're a tether and them flip-flops fit, then goddamn it, put them on. Shout out to the family. Let's go to work. My brother, Great Black Shark, it's on you.
Salute to your good brother Black Alpha. Salute brother Marcel and all the other brothers and sisters in the room. Okay, can you hear me okay? First of all, good brother.
Brother, you sound certified and strong.
Cool. I will not take up too much time because I know there's other speakers up here, but I'm so glad that you held this space, brother, because one of the things that I want to make clear, and I'm pretty sure I speak for everybody of my lineage that's on code and focused on the empowerment and protection of our people, a lot of these people that are now running to us talking about coalition building. Here's the thing. If you're going to ask us about coalitions, you coming to us now when you're in trouble and Donald Trump and, send them home, Tom Homan are getting you up out of here. That proves it's in bad faith. And see, let's also clarify this as far as modern day rules about coalitions. If you're going to seek a coalition from foundational Black American freedmen, that has to be bought with a currency or proof of concept of what you've been doing to earn that. And I'll posit to you this. Can anybody tell me what the immigrant class, especially the melanated ones, have done to earn the right to have a coalition with us? Where's the equivalent reciprocation and appreciation for what our elders and ancestors fought for and sacrificed for to get them over here? I have yet to see it as far as a collective, because as Brother Black Alpha said, there's individuals that we rock with, but in a collective sense, I have not seen that currency that they've offered up to say, okay, yeah, we can have a coalition. Because see, one of the things about this is if you look like us and you don't have the same mindset against white supremacy as us, what good is being unified with people that are detrimental to our collective cause? With the Congressional Black Caucus and many others, they don't advocate for us on the political level. We don't see them advocating for us in academia. We see what it's like in some of these workplaces. They don't come to us with any type of collective economic empowerment that we can work together to build anything. So it's like when we see them talking about strength in numbers, that's not always true if you don't have the same agenda as what we're having. And they cannot be our representatives if they seek to come over here and assimilate to white supremacy. And the last point I want to make and land with this. For all of you that are in the Tether class, you need to get one thing straight. Where we're at now with delineation, and as far as looking out for ourselves, this is generational across generations. This is synergy right here. We see Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, and it's going to trickle down to Gen Alpha as far as us putting ourselves first. Because see, one of the things about this is we have to look at our elders in the past during the civil rights era. They meant well. They did what they thought was best at the time. But an intelligent people adapts and course corrects when we see that we made mistakes. And one of the mistakes that you make is giving somebody something for free because they don't appreciate it. So from now on, if you come to us talking about coalitions, that goes for politicians as well, Republicans or Democrat, you better bring proof of concept policy, because we're not giving you the benefit of the doubt anymore. The free ride is over. And if you work so much harder than us, you're so much smarter than us, you shouldn't need a coalition with us anyway. Your men need to go back home, build opportunities for you and your women, and until you can do that, you basically a kid sitting at the grown folks table. You have no right to criticize us, and we won't be tolerating any disrespect. With that said, I'll land.
Fire once again for my good brother. Certified salute to you, brother. Man, you made 100 points. I just want to jump on one of them points you made, brother. You absolutely right. These people come over here and they talk about this coalition that doesn't exist. They talk about solidarity that doesn't exist. They talk about a kinship and a friendship that doesn't exist. They don't have it in their homeland, so you know they can never have it here. And they say things that undermine us, like they're going to get rid of Martin Luther King Day. They say they're going to get rid of Black History Month. All those type of things is what they say to us. The days of these people throwing rocks and hiding their hands are over. The days of these people doing things that are anti-us and then pointing the finger, talking about how mean we are over. We don't care about your tether feelings. You go ahead and take that back to your village in your homeland, across the street from the water well and 4 villages down from the zebra and the elephant. FBA is not concerned. We focus on ourselves. We're going to do for ourselves. We're going to be independent. Let everybody know this one thing right here. We are the only independent lineage right here in the whole damn country. And I'm going to multiply that by the whole world. We have focused on ourselves, and we always do better when we buy ourselves. We don't need nobody else. Checkmate all the way live. Certified salute to the family. Go ahead, my brother, Marcel.
You know what I noticed? These people have, if you can't destroy it, then claim it mentality. They would have loved to have gotten rid of the Essence Festival. I didn't know the Essence Festival was the largest festival in the United States of America. Just goes to show how popular our culture is. They could not destroy it. Some were bragging about how an African guy purchased Essence, but look, we are destroying it because they have forgotten or have refused to honor the essence, pun intended, of the Essence Festival, which is to promote Black American culture. And because of that, we, as foundational Black Americans, we have decided that we will destroy it unless they honor its roots. Okay? The same thing happened with hip hop. They tried to co-opt it, or first they tried to destroy it by claiming Afrobeats will be the new popular genre. We see Afrobeat has gone nowhere. It hasn't even charted since that one song with Tim's, and that was, 2 years ago? So since they couldn't replace hip-hop as a dominant genre, now they're trying to claim it. And you know what gets me? This real scolding attitude they have where they think they can reprimand us about the stances we can take. If you have your ducks in a row, then your homeland will not be in shambles. I was watching Tariq's broadcast last night, and there was some guy in some musty-looking taxi or something like that telling us how we need to partner with the diaspora because we don't have the numbers and we don't have a representative who can go to the United Nations. Okay, y'all have all of that on the continent. There's nearly 2 billion of y'all, if not more. You have representatives go to the United Nations, and you're still over here. And you came over here because we're over here. Because you know, if they ever try something with us, we're going to stand up and fight, not stand up and flee. So I noticed they have if we can't destroy it or claim, we're going to try to claim it. And that is something I'm seeing we're pushing back against. And I'm actually glad that they're showing their true colors, because the more they show their true colors, the more on cold our people are getting. I've seen several videos from young foundational Black Americans here on Twitter that are realizing that, hey, we are Black Americans. This is our special culture, and there's no one going to co-opt our culture. We're not going to allow it. So the more they call themselves speaking out against us, but notice they don't ever want to leave us, the more on cold we get, and I love to see it.
Damn right, brother. Damn right. Let me give everybody a little tether logic. Somebody asks a tether where you from, they're going to point to their homeland. Somebody asks a tether where grandma's from, they're going to point to their homeland. Somebody asks a tether again, where grandpa from, they're going to point to their homeland. Then they're going to say, where do you live? And they're going to say, right here in America. But then they're going to try to talk down on people here from America. It does not work that way. And like Marcel said, I'm loving seeing the young generation really stand up, because more and more receipts are coming out that brothers and sisters, in terms of foundational Black Americans, have been delineating for quite some time. The only difference is it was a few certifieds that couldn't really get the message all the way out. Now we've got more numbers where people are looking at us saying, you know what? What the Black grassroots have been saying is damn true. These folks are not like us. These people do not like us. These people want to be everything other than us until it benefits them. Always say it, we'll say it again. They stand next to us politically and stand away from us socially. When it comes to something socially, they always got some hate. Politically, they want to be tied into this. And can I make this certified point to the family before I spin these hands? Let me say this as well. Y'all notice there was no diaspora hatred or diaspora trouble when we were saying minority, African American, and people of color. When we was using them terms, they had no problems. Soon as we got rid and canceled all those terms and we started saying foundational Black Americans, we start saying freedmen, now it's a big issue, because we have essentially pulled that tether plug out the wall. And without that plug into foundational Black American lineage, heritage, and culture, they ain't got nothing. And that's why they ain't got nothing. Matter of fact, let me add that. They got some handcuffs right now in the van, which is going to send their ass right on back to their homeland. Easy work. My sister Natural and EJ, let me get you guys in a minute, but I'm going to send this right here to a distinguished brother that I spoke to earlier with so much knowledge. It's an honor to always talk to him. The floor is yours.
Hey, peace to the room, peace to you, Black Alpha, Brother JC in Atlanta, Georgia, Brother Marcel in South Carolina, all the people on here too, the various kings and queens. And this is such a wonderful and necessary conversation, and it must be unapologetically too foundational Black American and too strong like our coffee. We apologize to nobody. And I want to put this on the table because other people have things to say. I'm going to stay here for the whole show. I also want to say that I have people listening on other platforms. We've got to have this discussion. But, there's a very good book, and it's called The Fall of Civilizations. And I'll send you I've been listening to the audiobook for much of the day. And it was very good. I was glad I listened to it because, there was a Pan-African historical narrative that I got. And this thing, of course, it's a white dude that's explaining stuff in a way that it wouldn't be done by folks who are trying to focus us on worshiping all and everything African. And that's not to take away anything great in Africa, but we need to deal with what's not great in Africa, too. We need to balance things. But I want to say to everyone here, because Brother JC said about the people coming here to assimilate with white power. Not exactly true. Most Africans that come here have already assimilated with either Gallo or Franco power. It's the French who's as they kiss. Okay, for the British Commonwealth as they kiss, or Luso, the Portuguese as they kiss. So they're actually adding another tier of supremacy that they're in line with when they come here. Okay, so they already done it. And if it doesn't fit that way, then it's a Marxist-Leninist, or there's something, and now, to a lesser degree, a whole bunch of them. So there's a type of supremacy that all of them are connected to before they even get here. And also, if they're not aligned with any of that, then they're connected to some kind of evangelical, racist Christian thing, which is still supremacist, and or they're with a corporation that's supremacist, a multinational corporation, or they're with Bill Gates's ass, or they're with the U.S. military and the empire. So when they get here, everything that they've got has been connected to being plugged into white supremacy and going along to get along. So it's counterintuitive to hook up with the road of the Anglo-American empire, which is us. That is not how they see it. And in fact, there's nothing to make them understand. And in fact, them not understanding is reinforced by the United States Department of State, which for close to just under 100 years had worked to make certain that Africans that came here did not like Black Americans. And this doubled when they had the National Security Memorandum of the early 70s, where they wanted to make certain, late 70s, that Africans were not to get along with Black Americans. So there's a conscious choice, cultural choices, and then almost all the African people that you meet here, when they leave Africa, if they're not part of a crooked, lying, cheating, grifting, elite group that stole everything from the country and was helping people rip them off where they came from. If they didn't come that way, if you didn't get the ones from the top, then you got those people who are tribalistic, who have enemies that are Black, where they come from. See, this whole thing about melanin and all that, that's heavily an American or a New World thing, because almost everybody there is brown, Black, whatever. So their enemies were Black where they came from. It's no big transition to dislike another group of Black people. And they come up in societies where they're at war with other Black people that they have no intentions of getting along with. Even when the languages are similar and everything else, they just fight them. And they've been fighting people for thousands of years. Let me segue back to the book I was listening to. It explained how the large empire, Songhai, collapsed. Didn't even last a good 150 years. And before it, there was Mali, and how it collapsed, and the different fights and all. So Africans come from All of them. I'm talking about continental Africans from Egypt to South Africa come from either clan-based or language-based or tribal-based cultures, and they don't dig everybody else. Okay, it's them against it's so every African country is its own little microcosm of Fufu Hunger Games. And they moved that game from that court to ours. You've got to get this through your head. And this is why I talk so greasy about Pan-Africanists, is that it isn't bad, the idea of a unified black people. But be honest about all the obstacles and problems that make such a unity very, 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 very difficult, and why other people and other places are 100 times more opposed to unity than we are. We are the most advanced black people on the planet of this earth, whether we see it or not, or whether they'll admit it or not. And by the way, in Africa, just in any government, this is what was going on in Shanghai and what was going on in Mali, these great African kings and queens, there was always a fight over who was going to be in charge. And it could be cruel, mean. Seldom were people able to just come together smoothly. They didn't. And they don't. And so if you're to expect someone that comes from a society where folks wage war, economic, social, cultural, political war, on people that are similar to them, but not similar enough for them to want to get along. If you don't understand that, you don't get it. And I'll tell you one thing that's quite interesting. What the cohesion often is on the African continent is them plugging into foreign ideas or religions that create trans-ethnic unity. Catholic Church, Islam, Protestant churches, right? For that matter, they got the Mormons over there. Yeah, there's lots of Mormons in Nigeria, Mormons in South Africa, Mormons in Ghana, Mormons in Ivory Coast. Somebody else comes in with an idea that's often supremacist, and they can gather and even unite following people that don't even consider them human. Let me stop.
Pure fire, Dr. Short. And by the way, everybody, that's Dr. Randy Short, okay? For the record, everybody. Pure, 100% fire, fire. We definitely got to have you speak more. My good, great brother. Absolutely. Natural Torah, sister, you was roasting them the other day. Go ahead.
Well, hopefully we can do a sequel today. So, hey, family. So first I want to start off, we need to start laying down the rules of engagement when it comes to us, because every time these tethers come, whether it's Tariq space, any space that we have, and they wonder why we treat them like supremacists. They always come with the same white supremacist talking points with these per capitas, what's going on in black communities, like that Jamaican lady that was heard in the recording talking about how we're low lives, we live on Section 8. Meanwhile, Jamaicans are widely known for scams. All they do is pickpocket their tourists, traffic. They always, they come in. That's their way of engagement with us. They don't have that. From now on, you're not going to come and abuse us and engage with us like supremacists coming here with your talking points. You're going to come to us straight up, because all that is a coping mechanism. You got Haiti with 85% of Port-au-Prince under gang control, and all they do is concentrate on us. I'm sick of these people. They are so disrespectful. You could never, and this is the message to tethers, you could never wag your finger at foundational black Americans. Our ancestors fought to make your masses immigration possible to be here. Every time they engage with us, the bushmeat barristers, every time they engage with us, they wonder why we treat them like premise. Meanwhile, they saying we CIA say, but they're the ones with the white supremacist talking points. I do have a question, and then I'm going to land. So this is for the tethers, black tethers, or all of the diaspora that's not foundational black Americans. So without mentioning Marcus Garvey, Stokely Carmichael, Malcolm X, Biggie, anything that has anything to do with entertainment, your food, because all of those people came from underneath us. So y'all don't have no right to credit them and take no credit for them at all. So y'all need to upgrade the talking points. This infrastructure and system laws were already in place, already built by freedmen, foundational black Americans, specifically us. So what I want to know is, and this is a question for the tethers, like y'all was put in our communities, you extract resources out of our communities, and the money don't circulate because y'all send it back out to your neighborhoods, but now y'all underneath us asking for our help. What would we benefit by helping tethers? Like, what could they do? What type of unity, or what have they ever done for us as far as any shared any resources, any black and real black empowerment? And I'm not talking about the writers. What have tethers done that deserves, as Black Shark said, that deserves our support? Like, what have they done without extracting from us or had a transactional or exploitation relationship with us? What have they done to deserve anything from us? I hear a lot of the black content creators getting soft, saying, oh, well, we can't help them until we help ourselves. They're not our children. We don't have to help them with shit. They're not our children. Let them help themselves. What have they done to deserve help from us? Period. And the rules of engagement, y'all going to stop coming. Y'all going to deal with us straight up. Stop with these coping mechanisms, with these supremacist talking points about black crime, because nobody have more crime than the diaspora. Y'all claim that y'all fled from crime, but y'all come over here and continue the same crime that y'all say, y'all left from your government. So these are the rules of engagement. You're going to come deal with us straight up. You're not coming in here with these white supremacist talking points and this per capita and black crime. Talk to us straight up when you come and you deal with us. So I just wanted to say, the diaspora, what have y'all done to uplift or help or build black empowerment with foundational black Americans without exploitation that says that y'all deserve our help? This is what I want to know. Why do y'all think y'all deserve our help? Why do y'all think y'all deserve to be at the table with us, to be a part of our culture with everything you have done? Because if anybody's working for white supremacy, it is y'all. So that's all I wanted to say, and I'm going to go on mute.
That same question you make, and by the way, you eloquently stated that, but I hope, am I coming through clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Thank you. That same question you just asked, Naturally Chura, that's what initially began my rejection of pan-Africanism. I was in Ghana, and I was having a great time in Ghana, but my tour guide said that he loved Black Americans. He said that we were his favorite clients. He said that we were funny, we were entertaining. He said that we were the most generous when it came to tips. He loved our culture. He said he held one thing against us. And I asked him, what is it that he held against us? He said that when Black Americans get money, we never do business with Africans. He said that we never give back to Africa. And that incensed me. I said, what do we owe Africa? I said, what do we owe y'all? I said to him, if anything, y'all owe us. If anything, y'all betrayed us. If anything, y'all abandoned us. If anything, y'all did not come and seek to avenge us. So what do we owe y'all? And that's when I realized that some of them have this real entitled attitude. I say, y'all are sitting here in the continent with the most resources. Your country should be the wealthiest in the world, and all of your resources goes into the hands of Europeans and Asians, not into the hands of Black Americans, whom y'all only want to deal with when you feel you can benefit from them. And that is when my mentality started to change. Now, let me be very clear. I was always very, very, very proud of being a Black American. I always knew we had a unique culture. I always knew we were the most imitated. and really admired people in the world. As much as they claim they hate us, they can't stop talking about us. If you really hate someone and find them repulsive, you will not be spending 98% of your time talking about them, looking them up, and making them the point of conversation. Yet that is what people do. So we're really the most admired people in the world as well. That's the only time I realize that a lot, not all, but a lot of Africans really want to acknowledge us is when they can benefit from us. But when I asked him, why do you feel we owe y'all? He could not answer my question. And that attitude really turned me to hell off. If you are saying that Africa is the motherland, the mother owes the child, especially when you did not raise that child, especially when you abuse that child and abandon that child. If you want to come back into the picture, you should come with your hands full of gifts for that child, especially when you're sitting on a throne of riches. He could not answer that question. So I was asking the same thing. And I was looking at a video of a young foundational Black American woman. She must have just been 17 years old. She was like, we need to stop calling ourselves African American. She said, because we call ourselves African American, that gives these people a really big head. They come over here and think that somehow we are less than them because they're super African and that we're just poor imitations of them. She said, we need to stop that because half the time they're imitating us. Half the time they want to be us. She said, no, more than half the time they want to be us. And she's right. We don't seek out quote unquote African culture. And when we do, it's to actually dispel lies that a lot of white supremacists have told about the continent. But we have our own unique culture. We have our own institutions. We have our own initiatives. We have our own movements. We have inventions that we have patented that have modernized the world. We need nothing from the continent. But yet, if they want to be in the picture, they have all the resources that they can come and offer us. Remember when Joe Crow Biden and Kamala Harris were in office, they gave several African nations hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't recall any of those nations offering us a penny. And these whole citizenship programs, they're farces. They are complete farces. A lot of times you could only apply for the right to a bowl. And even then, you have to be wealthy in order to receive that. So even when they seem like they're making overtures to us, it is really to benefit them. It's to their advantage and not ours. And when they come over here, I want to repeat, they either seek to destroy what we have, and when they can't destroy it, because even the white supremacists couldn't do that, so they can't destroy it, they then try to claim it. They're trying to claim hip-hop. They're trying to claim soul food. They're trying to claim Black History Month. When I make posts, because y'all know I love posting about Black American freedmen inventors, when I make posts about Black inventors, there's always someone from another country, whether it's an African country, a Caribbean country, a Latin American country, who are sounding just like white supremacists. They're either trying to deny that our people invented this particular innovation, or they're trying to claim it themselves. They're trying to say, see what we Black people did? Look at what us Black people have done. And yet I just saw a tweet that went sort of viral of some young Haitian lady saying that she's a proud Haitian woman, and she just earned her doctorate. She's not claiming Black. So you only want to claim Black when it benefits you, which is something we've done, and you can benefit from it. But when you do something well, you want to give all props and shout out to your homeland. That's why I'm not caping at all for these illegal immigrants getting rounded up and deported. First of all, if you're here illegally, get the hell out. You don't have any right to be here. Second of all, you're anti-Black American. And third of all, you're just here to leech off of us. So that same thing you just said naturally to her, that is the exact mentality that caused me to no longer become a Pan-Africanist, to become a former Pan-African. Okay? Boykin, I think you were next.
I'm sorry. Before Boy can go, what I just to go on my actual question. So, how can we become an economic global superpower? Because there are some people that still think we're going to become this superpower with these people when we're surrounded by people who don't respect us, don't do legitimate business with us, and they still have tribal loyalties that exclude us. So, how can we trust those whose ancestors sold us and they brag about it? I see them bragging about it online. How could we I know they say, we got some writers. I can't cherry pick people. How could we build a superpower with these people? So when
We
I hear
can't.
exactly,
You can't. And someone
exactly.
used this expression, unity. And actually, what these people bring, I call screwity. Pardon my language. All they do is cuss. And I'm not speaking like some hack. I want to make this clear. When I was on the phone Sunday with my auntie is named Yvonne Sion Chappelle, Dave Chappelle's mommy, who was over in Africa in the 60s, who to this day has a CIA file, who did all kinds of stuff to help build the Congo. When she got back to the United States, is the brains behind something called Africare, which operates in as many as 30 African countries, fighting hunger, bringing development funds all over Africa. Do you think that Dr. Yvonne Sion gets any recognition from Africa? Do you?
Of course not.
Okay, I will go further. People don't know this about Dave Chappelle's mom. She's one of the pioneers of the divestment in South Africa movement. Has the South African government, now that it's black controlled, said, thank you? No. And I can say, you're hearing the voice of the person that started the Stop the Genocide campaign in Darfur 21 years ago. Has anyone ever said thank you? There are a couple million people walking around because you cared. Maybe 2 people I know have said thank you. No, in fact, the people I worked with, once they got connected to white people, they never spoke to me again. They were worried about being eliminated. You hook them up. They got with white folks, and they didn't even come back and say, thank you, brother. And so, and we could go on and on and on with that. I'm going to give you an example of unity. 6 years ago, it was 6 years ago, they did the year of return to Ghana. And what a lot of people don't get, and I do not hate Ghanaians or anybody on the African continent, but I hate tribalism, I hate bullshit. The year of return that a lot of stupid Black Americans thought it was all about us being welcomed back. That was an economic grab. Ghana would have collapsed had Black Americans not pumped their money into Ghana. Okay, I didn't hear this on the street. I heard this at dinner with the ambassador of Ghana in their house. I asked the question to the ambassador, is there any way that we can really do something with this and it not just be people wear nice clothes and travel around? And he basically says, I don't see that. It was about taking. And even now, the tens, the scores of thousands of Black Americans that are in Ghana spending money and buying stuff is boosting Ghana's economy. Ghanaians don't want these people there who aren't taking social benefits, who aren't taking jobs from Ghanaians, who are paying their own way. The Ghanaians want them out, but they don't want the Lebanese out. They don't want the Saudis out. They don't want the Chinese out. They don't want the Germans out. It's just us. And so I adored being in Ghana, but this tribalism, that is part and parcel of who people are. You can't not be what you are. And this is why I despise the pan-Africanists who've sold us the idea that the Blackness or the Black identity that we have in America is more or less the same with what's in Africa, with the different language, slightly different culture. And all we need to do is sort of get along with them, learn a language, do this or that, and everything's going to work out. It isn't so. And I'm not saying, by the way, the more unwesternized Africans are, in many instances, the cooler they are. The ones that aspire are following the British, the French, the Portuguese, or they're following white America, they're often the most difficult people for you because they've learned what America is based on what white people have told them. And in the words of a young man at the University of Ghana, as I was warning them about Obama in 2004, his comment was, "You just don't want to share America with us." I wasn't saying they couldn't come to America. I simply said, come to the United States understanding. And they felt like just facts of things turned them off. So the people, they're no different from any other group of immigrants that come here. They're coming to get their piece of the cake that was baked with the bones, sweat, and tears of our ancestors, not to be reinforcements to us, not to be brothers and sisters, although some are. And no, we shouldn't have to cherry pick them any more than we cherry pick who's a good person from a white supremacist. We have the right to be on an extreme case of trust, but only with clear verification.
Thank you so much, Dr. Short. And you know, it's true what you say. What I have noticed is the ones that come over here and cause problems for us, they often are the ones that are causing problems in their homeland. They are not positively contributing to their homeland either. They're often selling out their own people and their own resources to the Europeans and Asians. But even then, they'll do it with the Europeans and Asians, but they will not do business with us. I bet you that will be the case. Boykin, thank you for waiting. You have the floor.
Thank you. Hi, Black Alpha, Queen Alpha, Marcel, Dr. Short, everybody on the stage. I see you, Eric, and everybody who tunes in. I will just say this. Africans in their countries, Ghana being one, their relationship vis-a-vis Black Americans is strictly transactional, financial, period, end of discussion. They do not see us for our culture as contributors to the United States culture whatsoever. They have adopted the supremacist attitude. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about me from the past 20 years. First of all, I've worked with resettlement agencies in the Seattle area for the past 17 years, okay? So I've helped French-speaking Africans assimilate to American culture, and I'm just going to be blunt with you guys. They don't want anything to do with this. They don't even want to learn from us. They don't want to know anything about our historical institutions, schools, churches, communities, not even our leadership. They say the same thing that's been programmed into them by the missionary ambassadors and government officials who educate them in these classes that teach them that Black Americans are the permanent underclass. Yes, this is a fact, okay? One of the things that we have to take is no prisoners and no with these people at all. I stopped being a pan-Africanist in the year 2000 simply because after I saw what happened in the elections of 2000, and then when I traveled to Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, and Senegal specifically. I'm just going to say this bluntly. Any educated Black American, they are trained not to accept. Okay, they think that we are a political pariah or extremist group of individuals who are troublemaking and want to destabilize the American government. Seriously, seriously. They think that Black American is a false identity. And when I talk to immigrants who come from the Horn of Africa, specifically Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and so on and so forth, they think we're still slaves. Let that sink in. They think that Black Americans are still slaves and that we are a separate caste or a separate group of people, and that we should stay separate and away from mainstream America. I am dead serious. Even the folks who come over here and who have lived in this country, done their best to assimilate to the white man's culture and white man's ways, and even had kids over here, that's what they teach their kids. That they are not slaves, that they are not Black American, and because Black Americans don't have a culture, don't have a say-so in anything. This is what the immigrants learn and what they reinforce. Okay? So it is incumbent upon us to take that energy that we have, sit them down, and if we have to just shut them off, then so be it, because one of the things we have to start asking up front, is this foundational Black American? Does this have anything associated with Black Americans of North American soil? We've got to start doing that. I yield.
Okay, Eric, you have it.
This don't make no sense, man, when you trying to spit good game to the family. But the moral of the story is with these tethers, they haven't shown unity. They have shown plenty of delineation and tribalism in the country and on the continent of Africa. And they have the nerve and they have hatred and vitriol to be talking about what foundational Black Americans should be doing. But if you want to be talking about, pan-Africanism, those are the main people that need to be doing it on the continent. And I do want to thank, Dr. Randy Short for his wonderful knowledge and all the contributions that he has been giving to the family over the past couple of decades. And I do say salute to you, brother, because we need more elders like you out here in the new Black media, let alone behind the scenes, still keeping your knowledge for historical for history. But the moral of the story is, as y'all can see in the jumbotron, Nigerians are the main people that are contributing to the savagery that's going on in their homeland. When you do crimes in countries, let alone your own homeland, there are going to be consequences and repercussions to your actions. I get really sick and tired of these people, not only in the diaspora, definitely the Caribbean, because they want to be honorary premises too, but the time and the day of trying to explain stuff to these people have been long overdue with. And I do want to thank Brother Marcel, because he definitely been out here doing the work for the past couple of years. So the moral of the story is, when these people come into our spaces talking real crazy, hashtag make your countries great again. And I just want to say that, once y'all go back to y'all homelands and, see if y'all can do something better, then maybe I can give y'all some respect. But don't come in here when people have been putting in the work over the past couple of years and your paperwork has been dirty. If you want to be a rider and you want to be somebody that has a Black first mentality, you need to come with the paperwork, man. You need to come with a track record of actually trying to help somebody. Just don't be running and fleeing all over the place in these spaces, causing chaos and confusion and having hatred and vitriol for Black Americans when we've been the ones trying to help y'all for the past 60 plus years. Y'all don't have that energy for the colonizer, because we see y'all building off-brand Jesus statues and not building up places like Akon City. But with that being said, I'm going to land my plane and let somebody else talk.
Thank you for that. And you know what's funny? Speaking of Akon City, y'all know throughout the United States of America, we have freedmen communities. I'm not talking about historical freedmen communities. I'm talking about communities right now that Black Americans are establishing. Like they have one here in Georgia. I know there's one out in Texas, and they are thriving. They're small right now. I don't even think they've received their official papers to be recognized as a municipality by the counties. They still have to meet a certain population number, but they're thriving and the people are doing well. And we've done this in just a matter of years. Whereas Akon, he couldn't even get a damn pole in the ground, but over here talking about us and how Africa needs us. That's what I don't get. If y'all are saying that you work so hard and you have a better mentality and better work ethic, then why do you need us? It makes no sense at all. Naturally, Tura is you, then it's Melrose.
Okay. I just wanted to say that as of lately, it shows that the black dollar only circulates in our community for 6 hours, the community for 20 days, and a community for 30 days, and of course, the white community unlimited. These people have not done nothing nor do anything but extract resources. There is no reason why we should be feeling bad, feeling like we need to connect, link up with these people. As of 2025, our black buying power is at 1.98 trillion and projected to be at 2.1 trillion by 2026. There's no reason for us to have to link up. So when I hear people say, you know, we need to link up with Africa to become an economic global power, no, they need us. We do not need them for nothing. I don't want to link up with these people at all. I don't know why we have to. So when I see some of these content creators saying, you know, we need to, you know, think about this economic global power, you know, how strong we will be. No, if they want to help and link up, then this would have happened. And as EJ said, like, I'm tired of explaining to these tethers. I know that we do it for learning experiences for everyone else that's in the spaces as well, but they come in here to waste time so we can spin our wheel, and they keep saying the same thing over and over. Listen, they already know what it is. I don't waste my time with them. They know what it is. They want to waste time, because the same way that they look up these stats and per capita or whatever, they can look up our history. So they can act dumb. They come and act dumb. They ask the same questions over and over. Well, what have you done? Your ancestors haven't done. It's just an abusive relationship with them, and I do not like it. I don't waste my time with them at all, but we don't need to link up with them. So when I hear people say we need to link up with them so we can get this economic, they can't do nothing on their own. They need us. We do not need them. So I just wanted to say that, and I'll land.
You know, our population, and I know we're undercounted. Let's just say somewhere between 50, 60 million with a spending power, and I can really delve into the spending power, but I'm just going to keep it at the surface level, around $2 trillion. We're good. We're good. And, you know, even with that being said, however, I wouldn't be opposed to doing business with, you know, other entities outside of our community, because that's kind of what we've always done. But if they're going to say that we need them, I need them to show us where they've already been successful. Again, you are sitting on the most precious materials in the world. Some of these materials are not found anywhere else besides in your country within your borders. And you are still among the poorest places in the world. I need you to show us why we need you. I need you to show us your business acumen, because I am not seeing it. So before they can say that we need them or we need to link with them, I need to see what they have going on, because you have a continent of 2 billion people, again, the most precious resources in the world, and you are still struggling. That's a bad look. You have to make the case. You know, when you go for a job interview, you can't tell the people who's interviewing you that you are such a great candidate and you have been so successful, and you don't have a portfolio. You don't have a history. You don't have a record of success. No, you have to come with a record of success. So when they show us that, then we'll consider it. Until then, I think we're good. Ameros?
Marcel, what's good?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Great to hear from you. Peace to everybody in the room. Black Alpha, Queen Alpha. Yeah, I just wanted to, I just came in. I'm not sure if y'all already covered it, but it caught my attention when EJ said that there was a Nigerian drug lord in the Jumbotron, and there may be a mistake. I think y'all got the wrong picture. Those look like customers. They don't look like no drug lords. I never seen no foundational Black American kingpins that look that dusty. I never seen like a fat cat in them looking that dusty. Never seen no pictures of none of the FBA hustlers ever looking that dusty. So those might actually be the customers. Brother Cornbread might want to go get the real picture, because I could imagine the real Nigerian drug lords, since they got all these diamonds and all this big bullion in Nigeria, he probably looks different. So yeah, y'all might want to update that. But other than that, peace, and I'm going to drop back down and listen.
You know, I heard about this particular incident. I heard that it's in Liberia. And you see, that's the other thing right there. And no insult to Nigerians, But the truth of the matter, the Nigerian passport is among the lowest ranked in the world. They are literally banned from certain countries. There is no country where Americans are banned outside of some outliers like North Korea, for example. And let's be very honest, I don't think any of us are trying to go to North Korea. And there is no country, especially when you consider the countries of Asia and Europe, where we go and you don't see a significant portion of the population emulating Black American culture. Look at Beyonce right now. Look at Kendrick Lamar and SZA. They are selling out stadiums worldwide. People who don't even speak English know our songs, know our music. They know our beauty trends. They know our lingo. I remember going to Mexico. I remember going to Spain, and there were soul food restaurants in those countries. I saw a protest in Greece, and they were saying things like hands up, don't shoot. Now, we know those slogans from the Black Lives Matter era, we know they are problematic. But my point is, these people were standing up quoting James Baldwin, quoting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. These people have mirrors of Muhammad Ali. The point I'm making is our culture is iconic, globally speaking. You don't see this about us. You don't see us getting rounded up in countries throughout the world for some type of debauchery like this. You just don't see it. You see us being emulated and admired globally. And that's just something a lot of these other cultures just can't do. And you know what really bothers me? I hate when they say things such as, well, the only reason your culture is popular, hold on, someone's mic is on. I hate when they say the only reason your culture is popular is because you're from America. Hold up, people, including white Americans. They went throughout the world colonizing different areas, subjugating different areas. If you had so much going on in your country, you don't think these people would have found it? They know how to find your country to take your resources. They know how to find your country to help make deals with your leaders to disenfranchise you. If you had such a popping culture, they would have found it by now. You don't. That's why they imitate ours. That's why they can't stop talking about ours. As much as they claim that they want to degrade us, and they do, they still have nothing else to talk about and to concern themselves with besides us. Because we set the standard. America went out their way to try to demoralize us. America went out their way to try to deny our greatness. We are globally imitated and admired in spite of what America has done. Not because of being in America, because there would be no America without us. Alpha, are you back?
Yes, indeed, brother. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. I want to add something to what everybody's saying, and it makes a hell of a lot of points. First things first, these people who run around here and they talk about our culture and how we don't have a culture, I can simply say, who has no culture more than somebody who runs and flees and hops and skips and jumps? They don't stand still enough to have a damn culture. And if they do have a culture, it's that of backstabbing, tribalistic behavior, con artists, everything that isn't good. And to try to tell foundational Black Americans that we don't have a culture when we sit back and watch people in their homelands do exactly what we do. The most astonishing thing that everyone sees whenever they leave the United States of America is how many times these people are out here mimicking us. You got folks in the village way on the other side of the planet, and they out here trying to look like the Migos. Back in the day, they was running around here trying to look like Outkast. If you was back in the day, they was running around here looking like Snoop Dogg. Okay? They got a hell of a lot of people, and they duplicate every single thing that's ever been done. And American culture is from foundational Black Americans. So this trying to separate us from America and speak about American culture and us as two different entities, that is null and void. That's canceled. That doesn't work. Every single thing that you see here in the United States of America is because of us. Our brother Tariq made a point last night. Civil rights is a Black American culture. That's why all of these people are running around here duplicating foundational Black American revolutionary struggle. Like you just said, my brother Marcel, they were running around here talking about hands up, don't shoot. As a matter of fact, Marcel, when me and you were in South Carolina, you know, rumbling up with them damn NAACP folks and the Palestinians, remember the Palestinians had signs that said no ceasefire, no vote.
Yeah.
You remember that, bro?
They were quoting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Matter of fact, They were coming over to us trying to get some gain from us about how to protest. Remember? Then they went back in and started using some of our tactics, which, there's only but so many ways to protest, but they didn't have that that we had. They just didn't. We were way smaller in number, and yet we stole the damn show.
Big facts. They was out there straight up trying to get it on. They had Muhammad Luther King, okay? They had Muhammad Luther King out there, and they thought that was going to work, okay? But Muhammad Luther King is not Dr. Martin Luther King, all right? So try again, all right? Try again. And they all do that. So the fact that they've been trying to do that, separate foundational Black Americans from the United States, you cannot speak about it. I said it in Washington, D.C. at the Rally for Reparations last June, where I was honored to share the stage with my brother Marcel and the great Dr. Randy Short, as well as others. The highest honor I could ever receive was not just being there, but to be on that stage with these two great brothers, as well as the other speakers. However, I said it best, and this is my quote, and I always say it: there'd be no USA without FBA. So you cannot separate a Black American culture from America, okay? You just can't. They wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Black American culture. And then I'm going to say this, and this is what we all been wanting to say, and we're going to finally get to the goddamn point. The African American term is officially fucking dead. It's over with. It's done. No one really ever wanted to be that in the first fucking place. Nobody runs around here and talks about Africans. I remember being 7 years old and saying, why the fuck am I considered an African American and I ain't never been to Africa? All right. We're not playing these games where these people put that jacket on us. You can take that jacket back to Africa, and you can take Jesse Jackson back with you if he knows what day it is, because he might be the only person older than Joe Biden, who's 3,337 years old. So fuck all of them. And we don't want that term. That is it. The term African American has been such a detriment to our people, because when you run around here and you call yourself an African, even though you ain't never been to Africa, you've been generic. You've been broke down. You have nothing. You have nothing going for you. And this is why these folks come over here. And what's the two things these tethers do? They always overemphasize African American because it works for them. And they always overemphasize, I'm Black like you, brother. That's what they always love to do. So we have separated completely from the tethers, and we have completely deleted, erased, and canceled that term. If somebody comes into space and they say African American, not only am I looking at them sideways, but it's about to be G-check time. And we're going to go ahead and regulate them and get them the hell up out the paint. That term was created to put us in the position in which we're all in today. And more studies have come out, and people are seeing more receipts going back to the 1980s that Black Americans didn't even want that in the first place. People have to understand that it has always been a multifaceted apparatus to get foundational Black Americans reclassified. They will reclassify us 1 billion times. And now what we're doing is saying that we're going to identify ourselves. See, there's a difference between being classified and being self-identified. See, when you self-identify, that's you. You have it. You empower yourself. When someone else can classify you, now you're going in the direction in which they want you to go, and no longer is that happening. So the term African American is over with, and we've made that term dirt in these streets. Anybody who thinks that term is belonging to them, you can have it. I don't want it. You can take that back to Zimbabwe. All right. I have no connection to Africa. I'm not an African. So therefore, you damn sure ain't going to put African and American together and then put that on me. My grandparents passed away. Okay. And if I want to go to their grave sites, I'm right here in the United States of America. If I hop on the plane and I want to go to my home places, I'm going to go right up there where you at, Marcel and Honey Path. And then I'm going to go on down to Gulfport, Mississippi. Okay. And I'm right here in the great state of Georgia. I don't have to go to Zimbabwe. I ain't got to go to the Ivory Coast. I ain't got to go to Nigeria at all. I tell you who can go there is the people who are from there, and they can stay there and they can get the hell up out my lane. No longer are we playing nice with these people. Remember, everybody, tethers do not tether at 22%, so your ass better not gatekeep at 22%. A tether's not out here saying play nice, play fair, be good, be easy. A tether wants everything from your arts, your crafts, and your citizenship. That's everything they want. So I don't want to hear none of these Black folks running around here talking about be nice to the tether. Hell no. Being nice will have you out the paint. It's all about full-fledged delineation and gatekeeping. That's the way to play the game. That's the way we will play the game. And another thing, don't let these people always try to use a supremacy that they themselves subscribe to as some type of reverse tether psychology against us. Y'all notice these people never fight against supremacy until they want to say, white folks is going to divide us. Y'all going to let them divide us? It's funny because the same them that you're referring to is the same them that got you flying man over here and trying to get a date with Karen. Don't let these people who are supremacist puppets and minions try to pretend to be some type of crusader against it when they're trying to get foundational Black Americans on board with their everybody can be Black. That is reverse tether psychology. I be telling everybody, they come over here and they run that tribalistic con artist. You see how you see them Nigerian scammers? They be on them damn dating websites and they be scamming 400-pound women from Massachusetts. All right. That they try to pull on FBA and they find out, hell no. And I'm going to take this to another level. We are the only people on the planet Earth who are proud to be who the hell we are. We are proud foundational Black Americans. We love it. These people don't want to be nothing. You got people who are 14 shades darker than midnight, and he gonna tell you, I look white, don't I? I look like Denzel Washington, don't I? No, you look like Mr. Fufu and Mr. Joloff. All right.
Look like Flavor Flav. I say these be looking like Flavor Flav in the mirror. They need to stop, man. Just love who you are, man. The glass ain't gonna break that heart, man. Just be who you are, man.
They look like Flavor Joloff, Flavor Fufu. All right. And Flavor Fufu can get their ass the hell up out of here. So damn all of that, family. You got to stand on it 100%. They don't like the fact that that's exactly what the hell we're doing. Dr. Randy Short, it's on you, brother.
Oh, yes. First and foremost, I want to salute you for having the space, and Brother Eric, and I see Sister Nikki and others. I want to emphasize something that Brother Marcel said, and he went so fast and so strong and so furious that some of you didn't completely get what he's trying to tell you. So let me add in what Marcel knows, but he wanted to give an overview and give other people a chance to speak. Nigerians, I don't even have to mess with any place else. How many of you were aware that at one point within recent memory, 60% of the heroin that reached the East Coast of the United States, hurting Black Americans, was being brought by Nigerians? How many of you know that? How many of you know that many of these people are involved in human trafficking all over the country, and they've targeted Black American communities? Many of you don't know that. How many of you know that in places like Saudi Arabia, which does a lot of actions for crimes, like in Saudi Arabia, Nigerians rank very high every year? You can't be proud talking among advanced nations in the world, and you've got dude flowing down the street where you think a window is a toilet. I mean, it is absolutely insane. World citizenship is a code word that I'm not with you, and I don't want you to know how my place is screwed up where I come from. And all of these people, to some degree or another, involved in illegal activity. Most. Okay. And that whether they're working off the books, because if you go to Africa, most people are functioning outside because the economies are so bad. Everybody has to be a hustler, scammer, and a chiseler to some degree. I'm going to say one last thing that's unforgivable about tethers. And I just had to lay out someone that I've done a whole bunch of things for. And so I want everyone to know I'm not stingy like that brother was speaking. I have given easily tens of thousands of dollars to people who are African. I didn't even beef about it. But my issue, or if not 10, at least over easily $10, $15, $20,000 over the last 20 years, easily. What I want to tell you is virtually none of them ever reciprocate, which is why I say I'm a reciprocal pan-Africanist, and most of them are not into reciprocity. But I'll tell you something about Africans. In Nigeria, another country where they talk so much, Nigeria doesn't grow enough food to feed itself. In fact, that's true for most of Africa. They got land that they're more than they can spare, and they don't feed themselves. They're too busy trying to want to live like you do here. I just had to cuss this man out. You're telling me that you haven't eaten in 2 days and you live in Malawi, right? You got all this great sunshine and land. You got 4 seasons. You never thought to put some seeds in the ground? Understand something. They'll sit up counting your money here if they know you, thinking about what you can do for them.
and not what they could do. They've got a bionic, supersized inferiority dependency syndrome, and generosity and compassion doesn't cure it. When we delineate, in fact, you want to meet folk, they're just like black people who vicariously identify with rich Negroes that hate us. Africans look up to rich people that don't deal with them. They tend to think when you come and you lower yourself to be cool with them, that you're stupid. That's a cultural thing. I'm not saying all, but too many tend to see that as weak. Because if you spend some time in Africa, folk walk right by people who are crippled. They don't even stop. I'm telling you, they see people broke, they don't care. When you start doing things, a lot of people think you're weak. You can be taken. You're a sucker. And so the values that our ancestors came up with to get us through Jim Crow, through Indian removal and everything else is unique to us. Don't assume because the person's brown or whatever that they share the same. They don't, and you shouldn't expect them to. But we shouldn't subsidize their backwardness. We shouldn't subsidize their tribalism. I mean, you copy us in certain things, but the good things that we do, you don't know about them, nor do you care to. And part of how we get screwed is what we know about Africans is they're not white and that they might be able to dance. We need to be a little deeper. We need to know where they're from, what they do. The minute I was at a party the other day, and this Jew that was Nigerian tried to say that they didn't have slavery in southern Nigeria, and I had to embarrass him. And but he had Black American friends his whole life, but he's going to run this shit that they didn't have slavery, these Igbos. And I says, you're a liar. You got the system of Usu. To this day in Nigeria, they look down on the people that they once owned as slaves. Did y'all know that? Slavery ended in Nigeria as late as the 1930s. In 1930, Nigeria had the most slaves of any country in the world, over 3 million. Think about that, people. I'm landing.
Pure fire, brother. Pure fire. Every single thing that our brother just said right there is exactly the reason why we must delineate and separate from these people. Or shall I say, it's the reason why we are delineating and separating from these people. They have a backstabber tribalistic mentality, which Dr. Short alluded to earlier. These individuals come over here with predisposed hatred towards us because they got hatred towards each other. There's no unity over there in Africa. You always hear about the African militaries, but nobody ever tells you that they got the weapons pointed at each other. They got the weapons pointed at each other. It's never the colonizer. There's always an excuse, family. There's always an excuse. And they don't want to just say it because, like I said, you're dealing with very disingenuous people. They'll come over here and then they'll say, oh, it's the government why everything is bad. Y'all know the song Tariq sang. It's always the government's fault. It's the colonizer's fault. It's the other tribe's fault. It's everything other than Mr. Jollof in the mirror. Because if they have to acknowledge Mr. Jollof in the mirror, that indicts their whole continent. So the very fact that they come here to the United States of America and they deal with everything they deal with. But notice their jealousy and their envy and all of the hatred that they have always runs towards Black Americans. It's never towards the dominant society. They'll sit there and say that the dominant society, they colonized Africa because they were able to pit two tribes against each other. Family, what's more of a different tribe than a colonizer? You could say colonizer, you could say different tribe. It's the same damn thing. Only difference is that tribe came from Europe. How come y'all never teamed up and went against him? Because you would rather go against the person next to you that looks like you, opposed to going after the colonizer. But then you want to come here to America and tell us that we all look alike. First off, no, the hell we don't. And second off, now they want to talk that look-alike shit. They didn't ever talk that look-alike shit when they could have got together with the person who looked like them and ran the colonizer out of their village. But nope, it's always an excuse. And this is how they play the game. And this is how they always will play the game. It'll never change. People back in the old days used to kind of be on that. But like we said, there was brothers and sisters that was like, nah. And now it's only grown. And let me make this clear as well. Back in the day, people love to pull out statements of some of the older generations, and they were talking about maybe Pan-African and all that kind of stuff. Family, that was then, this is now. You don't have to be a Pan-African because someone showed you a clip of somebody from 1972. That was their era. This is our era. Okay. So you don't have to say, well, I got to do it because of the past. Nope. Because now the receipts have piled up. And if you're looking at the receipts and how these people have came towards us, and I'm talking about all that petty shit that they do. Only person running around here on that type of time is somebody who's trying to inflict a genocide on us, just like Dr. Short just told us, because that's exactly what it is. You come up with any other word, but that's the pinpoint term in which they're trying to inflict on foundational Black Americans and what they really want to see. Because I'm a forecaster. All right. We got to see the forest through the trees. Right. A few years from now, what they want to do is have no Black Americans and it's a hell of a bunch of Africans. That's really the future that they want. They want that future, and they can come up with every type of alibi justification that they can possibly fathom. But we understand that's definitely what it is, because notice they'll come over here and they'll try to get the Essence Festival. But how come they don't ever go to none of these country concerts or any of these rock concerts? There's a hell of a lot of little salsa events. How come they don't ever tether on to any of that? You can tether on to all that. What was that dude, Mexican OT, who's saying that he was going to say the N-word? How come they didn't try to tether on to him? How come you don't come over here and replace the brown folks that they're always talking about? We's all one. Notice that every time there's a situation where they're trying to tether on to something, it's always Black Americans. Basically, they come over here, they try to replace foundational Black Americans, and when you check them, they just play and say, oh, you're being mean to me. Family, we got a million Karens out here that's going to pull that damsel in distress. I don't need that from a 6'5" African from Nigeria with flip-flops and ashy knees. I don't need to hear that. But the very fact that that 6'5" ashy knee African is telling us we're being mean to them, sounding just like that Mayo Karen, that tells you exactly who's giving them their orders. Because I've said it before, immigration is about proximity. Immigration is not about these people just coming over here. They all want to be next to white people. That's really what it is. And we can just get to the brass tacks, okay? The meat and potatoes. These people come here and they want to be next to white folks because they look at America and they see folks as some type of godlike figure, and they say, well, let me travel over there. You notice every interaction with an African and a person, it's always the African up underneath the white person. How many white tribal chiefs have they made over there? You just seen one today. I just seen a video come out. White man. This man can look like Joe Biden's uncle. And he's over there. And you seen it?
Yeah, the umbrella and everything for Mr. Charlie over there. Mr. Mayonnaise was over there doing it big, brother.
He over there do nothing. They roll out the red carpet for him. That's what they do. So think about it, family. If you just judge this and you look at it from the framework of the interactions between Africans and Europeans, you got to look at it from this aspect. Either they're going to be immigrants in the white man's country and they're going to be up underneath the white man's armpits in his own land, or the white man is going to be the colonizer in their country and they're going to be up underneath his armpits. But no matter whether it's colonizer or it's immigrant, they still up underneath white people. That's what it is. Last time I checked, Europe and Africa are neighbors, and they have thousands of years of history. You know, slave trader, slave owner, slave buyer. So we got to start examining the actual relationship historically between the African and the European, because last time I checked, foundational Black Americans who have been over here since day one, not 2, 3, 4, 5. OK, we've been over here since day one for thousands of years. There's a big ocean that you got to come over here to deal with us. But Europeaners are right next door. So let me ask y'all this question. Who do you see more on a day-to-day basis? Your neighbor who lives next door to you, or the person who lives on the other coast on the other side of the country? Think about that, then you'll understand the mind of an Afro-European or a Euro-African. Everybody notice how quick the Caribbeans and the Africans team up real quick? Whenever it comes to foundational Black Americans, everybody ever notice that? Whenever it comes to hating on us, they become tag team partners very quickly. All right. So this is why we say we're not a part of the diaspora, because that's basically all lives matter and everybody can be Black. All of these everybody groups and organizations or ideologies, they never benefit us because those people are only using those terms so they can connect to us and they can steal from us. Look at it as a bridge. We over here on foundational Black American island, and then there's the all lives matter island, and they create a bridge that takes goods and gifts from us, transmits it over to their side, and then they take it and run with it and then close the bridge and don't share. Okay, the days of not sharing, fuck that. It's over. These people are always on the same page with each other. These people are always on code with each other so they can have each other, is what I'm saying. Let them folks have each other. Foundational Black Americans will do our own damn thing. And the more we do our own damn thing, it's clear. See, I'm not one of them people that takes 300 years to figure some shit out. All right. We don't have to sit here and guess and wonder how these people feel about us. If you don't know how these people feel about us, you're lying. And we ain't got no time for no damn liars. These people come over here and what they do is they send out a few people to make it look like, oh, you got some riders over here. We friends. Listen, if you're from over there and you down with foundational Black Americans, then it's not your job to come tell me. Don't tell Dr. Short how down you are with Black folks. Don't tell Marcel how down you are with Black folks. You need to go tell all them 3,000 TikTok tethers who has nothing but anti-Black American hatred. You go tell them. I don't need you to come over here and tell me that we all friends and we all need to get along. Don't do that. You wasting time. See, the difference with us, family, we check people who are off code. We have terms for it. Sellout, counterfeit, smut. What term do you want? Tap dancer. Tell me the term that they have that calls out their off-coded Africans or Caribbeans. I'll wait. But now you go tell me the terms that they have that are anti-Black American slurs. I promise you, you'll find more slurs that are directed towards us than you will ever hear terms that are directed towards their off-coded people. And they got a hell of a lot of off-coded people. So the writing is on the wall. The receipts are on the table. The tax returns done came in. These people are clearly anti-Black American. And that's why we got to start taking it a step further. Anti-Black hate, that may be something that a supremacist does. Anti-Black American hate, that's something that supremacists do, Africans do, Haitians do, Jamaicans do, Mexicans do, Puerto Ricans do, Venezuelans do, Cubans do, everybody does. So there's a difference between Black American and just blackity black, point blank.
You know, I want to say that we always say that if you are on cold, we're not referring to you. We appreciate the ones that are riders. But where are they? Where are they? Where are they when we need them? It seems that the most they do when they are on cold is tweet in favor of us online. You have some exceptions, like you have the gentleman named Richard Sudan, who's in the UK. He's not even over here. He's not an American. He's English, but he has a media company. He always writes articles and he does podcasts, and he always speaks out in favor of reparations and delineation. But he's an English. He's not an American. Where are these Black immigrants that are on code? They need to do more than just make an occasional tweet in favor of us. They need to do more than just come on spaces and speak in favor of reparations, speak in favor of delineation, and maybe on occasion check the tethers. I demand more from these that are on code. Because see, when Black Americans are on code, we do what John Robinson did. We go to their country and we help them fight against the colonizers by putting our lives on the line, by teaching them how to pilot airplanes. When Black Americans are on code, we do what Dr. Randy Short said that David Chappelle's mother did and what many others did. We organized to sanction South Africa because of apartheid. When Black Americans are on code, we do what Michael Jackson did. We raise hundreds of millions of dollars to donate to countries that are ravaged. When Black Americans are on code, we do what we did when we refused to help the United States of America invade Haiti. When Black Americans are on code, we do what we've always done. We write books dispelling myths about African history. We tell people that history really started in the African continent. We dispel myths that Africa is a land of savages. When Black Americans are on code, we do what we do. We welcome people from all walks of life if they are quote unquote Black, or at least we used to, until we realized they were not rocking with us and they come to our country, benefit from our struggle, and turn against us. But we welcome, Africans, Caribbeans, Afro-Latinos. When we are on code, lives are made better. So to these Black immigrants who are on code, what have they done to make our lives better? Where are they? Where are they when they are needed? Because we spend a lot of time checking their brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers, cousins, nieces, and nephews. So where are they? Because when we are on code, we lift entire nations out of poverty. We change the political atmosphere of entire nations. When they're on cold, our lives are not benefited at all. We just have someone who likes a tweet online, and that is insufficient. And I'm a little tired of giving them credit for doing the bare minimum.
Brother, man, you hit a home run, a grand slam. Damn right. Where the hell are all of these people ever at? We have the most invisible allies that anybody has ever not seen. Okay. We got all these people who claim to have done so much for us. The receipts show that they never have. There's no pictures of it, by the way. All these people say that, oh yeah, we march with you here and we march with you there. Let's say this as well. All these people running around here talking about they march with us. That's not a flex to say you march with us. It's not, because you notice, fam, it's always with us. How come there isn't an Africans against supremacy protest or rally right here today? How come there isn't a Mexicans against supremacy protest or rally today? How come every single march against white supremacy is always led by Black Americans and they always got to come and join our shit? If white supremacy is global and all these people always come and try to lecture us about supremacy when they're trying to get us to support them, because that's the only time they ever care about supremacy, is when they're trying to get Black Americans to pick up some type of arms or have some energy for them. How come you guys don't go and protest supremacy right now? White supremacy hasn't went anywhere. Mr. Fufu can have his own protest and rally today. So can White Clef and so can Kodak Crack. Both of y'all go right now. If white supremacy is such an issue for these people, then they'd be out there protesting against it. Let me tell everybody this. Those who do not protest against white supremacy are those who subscribe to white supremacy. That's why every other group out there doesn't say shit or do shit against white supremacy. The only people on the planet Earth with all 7 billion human beings that do something against white supremacy is one lineage right here in North America called Certified Foundational Black American Freedmen. We are wrapping rectangles around the whole damn diaspora. Go ahead, my brother Marcel. You done got me heated, boy. Go ahead.
And you know, another thing, when they are quote unquote on code, it always benefits their homeland. It never benefits us. For example, you know, I heard someone say, well, we are starting schools in Africa, partnering with Black Americans, opening businesses in Africa, opening businesses in the Caribbean. Okay, what about us? What about us? Don't you dare extract our wealth. You invest our wealth back in our community so we can build more wealth. But beyond that, where are these Black immigrant organizations in support of reparations? Damn all this other stuff. That's what I want to know about. Where's the pressure being exerted on these politicians for us to get reparations? That's what I want to see. You have white organizations, there's not a lot of them, but you do have them who are in support of reparations for Black Americans. And they've actually exerted some pressure on politicians to pass H.R. 40. Now, we know H.R. 40 is problematic. I'm not here advocating for H.R. 40. I'm just stating the facts. You have some organizations of Japanese Americans who are descendants of the Japanese Americans who receive reparations, and they have exerted pressure on politicians for us to get reparations. Where are the Black immigrants groups doing that? What I have seen are some tethers who have shown up at reparations hearings, whether it be in New York, whether it be in Georgia, or whether it be in California, who have tried to derail our reparation hearings. Where are the on-call Black immigrant brothers and sisters that we supposedly have, checking the hell out of them? Why are they nowhere to be seen? Why? But you can see them on TikTok telling us we need to be out there protesting against ICE, which you know ain't going to happen. I support mass deportations. Trump needs to step it the hell up and get more of them out here. But you can see them on TikTok, you can see them on Twitter, you can see them on Instagram, you can see them all over trying to get us to protest against ICE. You can see them trying to tell us to vote for that Indian woman so she can let more illegals invade us. You can see them then. When they want us to be out there stepping for them, they're very, very visible. Where are they when we need them if they are truly on call? Why are they nowhere to be found? And I don't want to even say his name, but someone mentioned him who opened his school. Why is he never putting pressure on them? He always goes in interviews and talks about what we need to do and what we should be doing. Why is he never telling them what they should be doing to show appreciation for us being up in our country?
He got too many baby mama problems to be handling his business. I just want to say that because he's going through some stuff right now.
Well, then that explains it right there, at least for now. But in the past, you know, never putting pressure on them. And don't get me wrong, he has said that the American government's trying to replace us with foreigners. He has even he has acknowledged that. He has even said he gets tired of the disrespect from these black immigrants towards black Americans. So he's even said that, or Africans in America, or whatever it is that he says. But where are these so-called on-call black immigrants when we need them? That's the question I need to have answered right there. Because I have seen, like I see Brooke in the audience, I've seen Brooke, shout out to Brooke, I've seen Brooke showing up at these reparations hearings, going in. But why is she having to do that? Shouldn't our black immigrant, quote unquote, brothers and sisters be doing that? I've seen a lot of us who have shown up at these hearings, who have shown up engaging with these politicians. Like Black Alpha and I have both done that. And I tell you what I have not seen. I have not seen one black immigrant, quote unquote, brother or sister who has been there alongside us doing the same thing. Not one. So where are they?
Brother Marcel, I'll tell you where they are.
Okay.
They're trying to play catch up. They're trying to get reparations before we get it. And they're trying to derail us getting it if they don't get a piece of it. And in reality, the pan-Africanists have basically said that America should pay them too. I mean, so we have traitors. I mean, but look, I was at the World Conference Against Racism that the UN had 24 years ago. When they had the follow-up conferences around reparations and racism, the Caribbeans all petitioned the various countries. They never made any reference or anything, even to say, we want reparations and let us remember those people in British North America. They systematically only went out for themselves, which is their right, but it says that they don't give a damn about our situation, and they're never going to. And if you go back, you mentioned New York. If you're familiar with Malcolm X, there was a tether, a Caribbean named Hulan Jack, who worked for Tammany. They always use, in particular, Caribbeans against Black Americans. They use Shirley Chisholm against Black Americans. This is old. There's a long-standing understanding. This is why you'll begin to see Republicans that are African and Caribbean. Some of the main people saying we don't need Black History Month, you'll see it repeated all over the country. They're often Nigerian Republicans. Their mission is to destroy our reparations, because in reality, we become their reparation that they can exploit us the same way the Koreans and everybody else does. And therefore, they also know if America repairs us, it means that they're going to get their lips ripped off the tree of Mother America. So in reality, it's a zero-sum game. The repair of Black Americans comes at the expense of parasitism of the tethers. That is why they know, and I said this on Tariq's, maybe I didn't, many years ago, a lot of people have heard of this film Sankofa, made by Haile Gerima, an Ethiopian, who lives here in D.C., taught at Howard, one of my teachers. I sat in on a meeting of Ethiopian elders, and this happened about 2002, 23 years ago. They were saying, they were just thanking God that Black Americans didn't have a stronger identity. They were so glad that Black Americans weren't completely unified, or they'd be shut out of everything. I heard a man say this. Their prosperity is dependent on our destruction. They see things not too differently from rednecks. And so that's why our healing, our repair will hurt them.
You know, may I say something real quick? I'm not sure if you cut out or not.
Go for it, brother.
Oh, okay, there you are. I thought you cut out for a minute when you had, but okay.
Yes, I want to hear what you have to say. Come on, bring it.
No, you go. App cut out, and I thought you had just stopped speaking, but the app had cut out. So no, you go ahead and continue.
So all I'm going to say to you is that our people getting ourselves together threatens supremacists, an African and Caribbean tribalist. You see, Black Americans we're like a delicious corpse that everybody's feeding off of us. And they're counting on us never to get ourselves together so they can live off of us. Us getting ourselves together threatens them. If you're a Southerner, like some of us are, you know, white folks see Black people with the nice car and their world is ending. Doesn't matter if you saved up for it. You shouldn't have that because you having means I'm losing. This is the same kind of competitive thing that you'll find with racists and ethnics exists with these people from other countries. And so what their skin color is different.
I have a friend, she's a fellow reparationist, her name is Nia, and she went to Italy. I think her mother has ancestry in Italy, or at least partial ancestry in Italy. And she was at a conference because she's into dancing and art and things like that. And she met these other two ladies, and I think they had ancestry in Senegal, and the other person had ancestry in some other African country. And they had been to Italy as well. And they all were talking about how much they enjoyed it. And the other lady was like, you know what? We want to go back. We might retire there. We might move there. And she said that, you know, I want to come back home. I fight for my people. And they was like, well, you know, hats off to you. Couldn't be us. And she said, you know what? That's when I realized even more. We're different. She was like, I was thinking about my people, how I want to fight for my people to do well. And they were just thinking about themselves and how they want to flee so they can do well. So, Dr. Short, you hit on some good points. The other thing I want to say, let me be clear. I have met foundational Black Americans, freedmen, at some hearings and stuff like that. Well, you know, like a rally for reparations. But when I meet people who are not foundational Black Americans or not freedmen, it's only partial. That means they're bi-ethnic. Like they may have a parent who's from another country, but another parent is foundational Black American or freedman. I have yet, or at least I cannot remember right now, to meet someone at a hearing. I think at the Rally for Reparations, I met a few, but I'm talking about like at a hearing when it's time to actually stomp. I have yet to meet a foundational Black American or freedman at one of these hearings. And I understand that I'm in South Carolina. We're not exactly a state that has a lot of quote unquote Black immigrants. I mean, in my area, we have a good bit of Jamaicans and Haitians, but you know, they're a very small percentage of the population. So I understand that I'm not in an area with a high penetration of Black immigrants. So I understand that factors in as well. But damn, we have all these so-called writers. I would have met some by now. And let me tell you, I've driven to larger cities to speak and to do things that were on code. Just haven't seen them. You can't be like the angels, say that you're benevolent, say that you're good, you're for us, and we never, ever see you. Alpha, I don't know who's next. I don't know if it's Naturally Churro or is it Andre? Do you have any idea?
Yes. I'm going to spin it to Natural and then Andre. I'm going to get to you in a second. Before I go there, I want to add on to the great points that the great Dr. Randy Short said and the great Marcel Dixon just said. I want to add an extra point to that right there because I want everybody to notice that Africans are not on code here. They're not on code in Africa. And if you ever see somebody who's on code in Africa, what happens to them? You notice that anybody who ever has an African first mentality in Africa, they end up getting vaccinated. They just take them out. They don't rock with their on code riders over there at all. So you can see it clear. A lot of people talk about, Malema in South Africa. Do y'all know that he has a horrible rate of people who like him over there in South Africa? They don't like him. They don't like him because he's going a little too hard on some of them folks over there. Now, I'm not going to get all into African politics or whatnot, but what I will say is his approval rate is not that good. Now, I'll tell you who does have a great approval rate in Africa, any white person who comes over there. You will have, again, 500-pound woman from Kansas named Beth. She will go over there and all the African men will line up down the village and around the corner. They'll get down to the elephant and 3 zebras down, and they will all get in line for her, okay? But let an African say anything about a colonizer, their approval rating goes down the drain. So the receipts show clearly that they do not see themselves as Black. And let's be real, They also come over here and saying, I'm not black. And remember all that? I didn't know I was black until I got to America. Isn't it funny? They don't see blackness till they come to America, but they see whiteness everywhere they go. I rest my case. Go ahead, Sister Natural.
Oh, let me say something real quick, too. Look at Robert Mugabe. You know, the contrary to popular belief, Zimbabwe was booming underneath Robert Mugabe until they applied the sanctions. And what happened? The African continent failed to stand with him. He was taking land from those Rhodesians that had stolen land from the indigenous Zimbabweans, and he was giving it back to the black Zimbabweans. The United Nations, United States of America, the UK all applied crippling sanctions on him, and the continent of Africa failed to stand with him. Like you said, anytime there's truly a pro-African politician that gets into office, other Africans will not stand with him. And like you said, when they talk about corrupt leaders, they put those damn leaders in office half the time. And those leaders are able to abuse them because the other Africans go along with those corrupt leaders. Other Africans work with the Europeans to oppress those leaders. So just want to say that. Naturally, Tura, you have the floor. So they got to get on cold before telling us we need them. Get it together. Build a house for us, build the mansion, and invite us to what you have built. Naturally, Tura, you have it.
Thank you. I just wanted to agree on what you said about, I have the same question. Where are these invisible allies? I feel about them how I feel when people say the good cops that stand around and watch an unarmed black man get killed. Where are these invisible allies? I did want to say that I noticed that during Juneteenth, these tethers, they were loud and disrespectful. And shout out to Arthur Watkins that shut a lot of that disrespect down in regards to our Juneteenth celebration. But I do notice that it's almost mum's the word since that epic embarrassment of the essence has happened. Now the conversation has switched to, you guys need us. You're being xenophobic. It's not, y'all don't have no culture, because still we've been here for a while and I haven't heard not one tether come up. Any other time they're in our spaces telling us how we don't have culture. I still don't even know what tether's culture is, but I noticed that the conversation is changed. Even though there's still some disrespectful individuals out there. In regards to the hearings, the reparation hearings, there was a tether in Alpha's comments that said, y'all work for the white man because y'all not boycotting the white man. The white man is not going to our reparation hearings trying to sabotage us. They're always trying to deflect. And you're the same people that work with said white man. So again, I'm trying to figure out how can we come together, because I know some people still saying it could be done. How could we come together and link with people that don't even do legitimate business? There are frauds over there. The government is fraudulent over there and corrupt. How could we ever even think about linking up with people that don't even do legitimate business? How could that happen? So that's just a question that I have.
Good point. Let me add to that real quick. Everybody see exactly what my sister just said right there. There goes another tether only mentioning white people when they're trying to trick us into supporting them. They never mention white people when it comes to getting deported, when it comes to getting beat down, when it comes to being colonized. They don't have no rallies, no protests, no march. They act like white people only exist when they want FBA to support them or when they want the white man to extort them. That's the only time white people exist in their brain. I'm tired of seeing folks who subscribe to supremacy everywhere. Hell, they bleach their skin to look like white folks. They over there doing backstrokes and cake soap right now to be next to the man. However, they'll do all of that, and then they'll come to black Americans and say, see, y'all's working with the white man. How come you don't ever protest against the white man and white supremacy? How come you don't ever run the white man out of your country? And I'm talking about all the Europeaners that go down to Africa and dice you up like a piece of damn pie. How come? You ain't never talked about the white man. You were never concerned with supremacy. Let me tell everybody this. These people don't care about supremacy until they can try to use that against us. See, they understand that we are the only people who don't rock with white supremacy. We're the only people who crusade against it. We're the only people who reject white supremacy. And they use our disliking towards the system of white supremacy as a weapon against us. They don't go against white supremacy. They weaponize it against Black Americans. That's what they always do. Anytime you call them out, they'll start saying, you gonna let them folks divide us? You gonna let them folks separate us? They only mention them when they're trying to fool us. Every time I post something, every time Marcel posts something, every time Tariq posts something, you're gonna have some tether in there saying something along the lines of, how y'all gonna come against us, but y'all not gonna go against white people? Mucker, you don't go against people. So be quiet and sit your ass the fuck down, all right? And if they cannot be like people in terms of bleaching their skin, then they want to be just like people in terms of being ashy as hell. So you can be ashy or you can use cake soap. You still are not white, Mr. Joloff. Andre, I seen you was up here, and I know you're going to say some pan-Africanism, and you dropped. Come on back up here because it's the wrong time, but you got the right brothers. Go ahead, Boykin, and I'm going to get to you, EJ. You know I see you, brother.
Hi, Black Alpha. Thanks. Y'all bringing the heat, and these tethers are just hating and hating and hating. Well, you know what? That's a good thing, because foundational Black American, freed men and freed women, we are delineating, and we are not looking back from these tethers, these hangers-on, these people. Let me tell you something. You know, I had to just go ahead and somebody. I said, listen here, foundational Black Americans are of the North American soil. We created the United States. We don't bow and scrape to any monarch, okay? Whether it's King Charles, okay, or the monarch over there in Saudi Arabia or those other places. You guys need to understand this. With those tethers, especially the ones coming up out of the Caribbean, they only think of mommy and white daddy in terms of father, mother, and child relationships. That's it. They don't look at themselves as independent people. That's why they don't have any loyalty. That's why they stab each other in the back, because they're competing for mommy, white daddy's attention. And when they compete for white mommy and white daddy's attention, mommy and white daddy will give them an allowance. And then white mommy and white daddy will tell them, now you see those other troublemaking Black people over there? Go in and put them in place, because they're coming after you. They're not like the ones, okay? You're obedient. You do as we tell you to do. Those troublemaking Black Americans, they ain't no good. And so that's why they're so problematic, because they can't think for themselves. They can't do for themselves. They don't build anything. They don't have an historical record of building and fighting for anything. That's why they fled over here, because in the United States, this is the only country where you can say it loud that you're Black and you're proud. You don't have to worry about violence. You don't have to worry about anything, because we, in our history, fought back. These other folks, they couldn't fight back. I had to check a Haitian. I says, let me tell you something. Did your folks flee from Papa Doc or Baby Doc Duvalier? Never spoke to me again, because I spoke truth. Okay? And then some other tether got on my case because of what I posted in my timeline. I said, hold up. Robert Mugabe did more in his 40 years in Zimbabwe than you've done in your 56 years on this planet. So who are you to take down Robert Mugabe, who cleaned up the corruption in Zimbabwe before the United States and other colonial powers took him out? And you ran from Zimbabwe over here to the United States, running from South African supremacy, to United States supremacy? Why do you hate yourself and your people like that? And this was a Shona woman. Okay? I'm not trying to understand that. I'm not trying to get along with people who don't want to get along, first of all, with their kith and kin and people from their own ethnic group, let alone get along with us. And now, you know, for years and years, I kept my mouth shut, but now I don't have any to give. And with that, I yield.
And that's exactly how delineation is supposed to be, sister. Is exactly supposed to be that. No fucks given, zero tolerance. That's the way it is. Let me say this as well. Tethers have a very, very historical record of causing divisions amongst the Black Americans. Okay, let's make that crystal clear. The East Coast, West Coast situation. First off, Notorious B.I.G. was Jamaican, but if you look at all those people that were behind the scenes, Haitian Jack, all of those people, Haitian Jack, they were a lot of the people that were causing a hell of a lot of division amongst foundational Black Americans. And if anybody remembers, just a few months ago, you had a lot of those Haitians and Nigerians that were up in New York, and they were trying to talk down on the South. And they were saying how Southern Black folks this and Southern Black folks that. They were trying to run this gambit amongst each other so they can get foundational Black Americans to finger point. The same exact tactics that they say that the white man is doing to them and us is the same exact tactics that they use against foundational Black Americans. Don't get on TikTok and say that the white man is dividing us when you run around here and you try to sow division between Northerners and Southerners, people from the East Coast, people from the West Coast. That is a tactic that the Tethers have been using because, like we've all said a multitude of times in this space, whenever you see a Tether, you're looking at a melanated supremacist, okay? Because they have a track record. They have a clear indoctrination of white supremacy, and their job is to be the supremacists with melanin. That's all it is. And that allows them to get certain access. See, they understand that they can go get the coons over here in America, but the coons over here in America don't really do nothing because we check this. So they know you're not going to get a coon who's a domestic foundational Black American. We're going to get him. Clyburn, Marcel, you know what it is. Clyburn still be running from you. Bam, we done went places and Clyburn be trying to keep Marcel out of places. I know that for a fact, okay? So they know that we handle ours. So this is why you started to see all the Roland Martins of the world, the Barack Obamas of the world, the Kamala Harrises of the world. They send all these tethers to be our fake spokespeople and to also try to sow the divisions that really don't exist amongst foundational Black Americans. That is straight out of COINTELPRO. That is straight out of J. Edgar Hoover. That is straight out of the dominant society. So you have to watch these tethers and you got to take them very, very serious. And another thing I want to say and another thing I want to add, and those of you guys who are subscribed to the Black Alpha Network, you know I break this down. There's this new wave now of having fake tether Southerners. See, they used to try to do the thing with New York, but we started calling that out because everybody knows there's a hell of a lot of tethers up there in New York. The thing they're doing now, they're having these Haitians and these Jamaicans and Africans, and they're growing dreads, and they're talking in these fake Southern accents. One thing about FBA, we know a fake Southern accent. We know that shit. Nice try. And they're coming out here and they're trying to pretend that they're us. How many of you guys seen the videos where they'll be in there talking like they're Southerners, and then they'll start laughing, and that damn Nigerian accent will just pop out? That tether Tourette syndrome will pop out. They can't hide it. So you're starting to see an influx now of not just them pretending to be Black Americans from New York, like Busta Rhymes and them. Now you're starting to see them try to say that they're from South Carolina. They be saying that a lot. Jotaka Edie, that woman that was behind Kamala Harris, she looks like she just got off of the goddamn boat from Somalia. And she runs around here and says she's from South Carolina. Okay. That guy who's all up underneath Carmelo Anthony, that guy, whatever his name is, that dude, we exposed him on the Black Alpha Network. I forgot his name already. Dominique Alexander, whatever. This guy is clearly a Haitian. Clearly is Haitian. His sister looks like Wyclef. Okay, stop playing with me. All right, he got 1804 all over his phone.
Is that why all the money is gone? All the money, somebody got it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Carmelo Anthony's your family. Get them damn tethers away from you. Okay, pause, freeze real quick, everybody. Get them tethers away from you. If it all go down and it go down bad, it's going to be a lot of reasons, but get them tethers and get Charleston White the hell away from your case. But that's another topic for another situation and another day.
Yeah, better get that bug out away from Brother Carmelo because he was talking big shit.
But, you know, Charleston White, what he needs is a crack rock the size of Mount Rushmore. We get him the pipe and let him go somewhere and leave us alone.
they like to say, "Oh, I'm from South Carolina." I don't know where that's coming from. Why all of these tethers like to lie and say they are from South Carolina? I've been noticing that. First, I noticed it when they come into Tariq's space. They always want to say, "Oh, I'm South Carolina. I'm Gullah Geechee. I'm Gullah Geechee." And now it's caught on. They're always saying they're from South Carolina, and they think they're slick. They look up South Carolina and they name towns they know no one outside of South Carolina, and probably even people within South Carolina have heard of, to try to give themselves more authenticity. So that is a little scam they're running. I want to say something else. You know, we have so much influence. We're even influencing these Black immigrants to go back home. I've seen some videos of some Black immigrants who have been born here in the United States of America saying, you know what, why don't we go back to our homelands and build our homelands up? Like, how can we tell people that we're so great and our homelands are in shambles? I was just scrolling just 10 minutes ago through Twitter and saw a video of a young girl. I guess she's of Haitian descent. And she was like, why are we up in America talking about how great Haiti is, but we're not in Haiti? So, you know, our talking points are catching on with everyone. And that's good, because truth be told, had Reconstruction not been demolished, America, we think as a world power now, America will be 60, 70 times greater, 60, 70 times richer, had they let us lead like we were, and we would have been even more during Reconstruction, had it been allowed to be properly executed. But back to your point, though, I do know a lot of these tethers told us they're from South Carolina. When they don't say South Carolina, they like to say Mississippi. Like, I'm like, why are they always picking Mississippi and South Carolina? I guess in their mind, they're trying to think, how can I really convince people that I'm Southern? And I guess in their minds, it doesn't get any more Southern to them than Mississippi and South Carolina. You know, they don't want to say Georgia because people kind of know more about Georgia because
they know better than myself.
Right, so they picked Mississippi and South Carolina because I guess they feel, well, those states are southern states. They have deep roots here in America, but they're not quite as popularly known as, let's say, a Texas or a Georgia. So
there's some colorism. There's some colorism too. They know enough that Black Americans in certain places in the country have lower rates of white mixture in certain deep states. So they're very, very, see, it's really interesting how they buy bleaching cream to look like we do and then criticize us for whatever our mixtures are. But when they don't do that, then they claim to be from someplace where people are darker. They're assuming we're so stupid. If you're just dark skinned, well, he's from Mississippi. And they're counting, and they don't know people in Mississippi are light skinned. I've got light skinned people in my family from Alabama, Mississippi. They don't really know anything about us other than they think we're suckers.
That's what they're trying to do now. Like, that's the whole game of these people. It's always they pretend to be. That's another thing. I've never, and I mean never, seen a Black American ever pretend to be an African. Okay, never, ever at all. I've never seen somebody really be from New Orleans and say they're from Nigeria. I just don't see that at all. But these people do that all the time. And by the way, anybody who's ever left the United States of America, one thing you always see is that these people try to act like us, especially the African men, to get women.
Well, there are two things we can help them with. Lose the white socks, and then two, work on body odor.
That's a dangerous task, Doctor. You can't be having them do that. They might fall out from the good sense. They can't be using soap and water like that.
They said they're immune to funk. Damn right. That's what they do. They always try to pretend. They'll come in our spaces and, again, just like white supremacists, okay, this is, again, number 5,082, how they come and they pretend to be us so they can try to infiltrate us. That is the main thing that they've always been doing. Go ahead, Sister Natural.
I was thinking about your live you had, and you posted that woman that exposed the owner of Essence. And what I think we're going to start seeing more of, the very same powers that be that they were working with to work towards our erasure and gentrification is going to start dropping receipts how dirty and illegitimate business that they do. So it's not going to stop with that that essence owner, we're going to just start seeing a bunch of receipts of these scammers and how they really do business. And I'm waiting for it because, see, now the white supremacists or whoever the powers that be that's trying to help the diaspora to gentrify us, now they want to jump off ship because of delineation and the taxes are not working anymore. So they're about to start dropping receipts on these Africans or Haitians or whoever's doing this dirty business with them. We're about to start really seeing, a bunch of shit that's been going on behind the scene. That's why, again, I just don't even understand how we can come together and do legitimate business with these people, because everything with them is transactional with us, and every part of business that they do is just scamming. So, I just wanted to say that I'm waiting for more receipts, because the people that have been working with them is like, nah, this delineation, like things are going left. They're going to start dropping receipts on them and these scamming Africans, scamming Haitians and Jamaicans and how they really do business.
Well, something's been left out. I got to say this. The Boule, the Greek letter Negroes and other people, when you've done all the those shaming rituals, they'll take people from anywhere. That includes white folks. We've got very, very evil people in our community that sell us out. Okay? That's in the cities. It's everywhere. It's everything. We have an element in our community that likes everybody more than us. E. Franklin Frazier talks about this in The Black Bourgeoisie. There are people who are ashamed of the black grassroots. They hate our guts, and they're anxious to replace us with anything other than us. The way that they're coming in many places is through Black American affiliated organizations. I'm pointing out the Greek letter people. If you do their stuff, you get to be a brother. These people, these tether women are coming through Delta. They're coming through AKA. Oh, yes, they do. It's their way in. It is their way to not be aligned with all black folks, but to have a small, supportive constituency group. And see, if I do right by my 1 or 2 frat brothers and sisters, right, or my sorors, then I can just dog all the rest of black folks, and I'll have people cover for me and say, well, that's my brother. We need to delineate between black people who are in organizations where they can justify and allow themselves to be part of our erasure. I will never forget being in a meeting at Howard University, and this little vile, nasty degenerate named Kwabena made a comment that Black Americans had no culture. And all the other at the table didn't say anything. And then everybody jumped to his defense. He's A5A, he's down.
Yes, indeed. Andre, go ahead. Andre, come off your mic.
Thank you, brother. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just getting back to my phone charger. My phone had died. So yes, I'm with you guys about all of this stuff. I just had a question to the room and, to the hosts and everybody about what we're going to do about the economic system that underpins all of this. That's my focus. That's what I studied in college. I'm a social worker, so I deal with housing and community-based supports through the social investment such as Medicare and Medicaid. People most likely know somebody who knows somebody at least who's a social worker. And so I have my own focus when I'm looking at, some of the economic stuff. So I feel like capitalism is a big issue in the United States, and it really sets, like I said, the background for a lot of the things that we've been talking about. So how are we going to move the needle with that? Because that is, in a way, how the tethers are weaponized against Black Americans. This is how white supremacy gets its power. It's through owning and controlling the material world that we live in. And so that's what economics is about. How does a society distribute the goods and services? Right now, we have a racist, supremacist economic system, but underneath that is a system that says that any society, whether it's the United States or anywhere that capitalism ever goes, it's about taking the working class and screwing the working class. So I just want to make sure that, you know, throughout our rich history, where whether you're talking about the Black Panthers or Malcolm X, they all address this question about what kind of economic system are we going to exist in the context of, right? It doesn't mean kumbaya and make space for people who haven't shown their alliance or I would rather use the word the unity, right, with our people, but rather, right, because I think all of the anger and the bitterness from the mistreatment of others is stemmed in the fact that it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be Black Americans against the world, right? That's the reason why we're upset and we feel as though it is. But, you know, again, context says if we don't want it to be Black Americans against the world, if that's not right, and it's wrong, then what would be right is if Black Americans did have support and find unity among the rest of the human race, right? I mean, I think the objective would be peace instead of war and cooperation instead of competition. These are just concepts, you know, that are up for grabs when you're talking about what kind of economic system we want. So I just don't want to get too lost in the weeds about this racial struggle unless we pay insufficient attention or focus on, you know, what kind of system, right? Because we need some leadership in that regard. The world at large is lacking in leadership about how should we do shit. Supremacists, they oversaw the global capitalist system, right? It took off in Europe and it has landed in the United States. Before that, it was Great Britain, and these were world empires. Capitalism took it to the world stage. Nowadays, we're talking on phones that are built in China with materials gathered and mined in Africa and sold by the United States and, you know, consumed by people all over the world. We're connected as a global system. So how are we going to, whatever we do, whoever we're fighting off, at the end of the day, we got a whole modern world to consider what was going to be the way forward. And it doesn't seem like the United States is showing that leadership. That's why the rest of the world is doing all sorts of stuff that is causing economists to panic about the well-being of the United States in the future.
Brother.
So I'll land my
Brother,
plane.
yeah.
I'll get
Please.
carried away.
Please
All
do
right?
shit. God, yeah, I'm about to fall asleep.
What are you talking about, brother? Like, you dropped us all off down the block. Are you for tethers? Are you for tethers? Because it sounds like that was
I touched on the tether
That's
thing.
not, no, I don't need you to touch on the tether thing. You probably touch on tethers. That's another story. I don't need no roundabout way of you telling us that you're down with tethers. It sounds like you're trying to misdirect us about the economy. You was talking that like 5 years ago. It seems like every time we're talking about opposite,
Yep, the video's still on YouTube. Like, after you got them on your page.
I see
It's all
you,
love. It's all peace and love.
Yes, you seem like whenever we're talking about oppositions or groups and organizations that provide some type of hurdle or obstacle to stop us from going where we go, you use this economic, elongated speech to basically tell us to leave them alone and play nice. But I'm not going to play nice. I'm going to allow my brother Marcel.
I didn't say that.
I understand that. But I'm going to let my brother Marcel go ahead and handle all of that. Go ahead, my brother.
Andre, I don't even know.
Please, my black brother, go ahead, Marcel.
Andre, I don't even know how your comments connected to the topic. Can you please explain that?
Yes, I'm saying that this issue that you guys have been discussing and that I'm very aware of, the the discussion about tethers and
How
the
do your
issue they
comments connect
pose
to the topic, Andre?
So what I'm saying is, I'm arguing that we need to put it within the context of how.
Okay.
Oh,
So in other words, we're talking about how America treats Black Americans and immigration, how that plays into it. So if you're talking about tethers, you're talking about immigration. You're talking about immigration. You're talking about the government of the United States.
wait,
If you're talking about that, we got to talk about the economy.
All right, so you're saying
that dictates.
So you are saying, if I understand you correctly, you are saying because
laughed out the room. This is not going to work.
The topic of immigration, yes, it does connect to tetherism because a tether is a Black immigrant who's anti-Black American. Yes, I get that.
So that's
hold on, wait a
beeline
minute.
to the economy.
Wait, stop trying to overtalk because it's not going to happen.
Economy.
So you're saying that a person who immigrates here, they have to become a tether because of the economy. So they have to become a tether. They can use the economy as an excuse. That sounds like what you're saying. That sounds like what you're saying. So you're saying. So hold on. We have Black Americans. We have Black. You're not going to overtalk me, okay? We have Black Americans, freemen, who don't have a lot of resources. They're not anti-immigrant. They don't like these illegals flooding their cities and towns and neighborhoods, but they're not anti-immigrant, but they don't want a bunch of illegals flooding their towns and cities. So you're here trying to say the American economy makes someone a tether? That's an excuse for them being anti-Black American? Freeman? Huh? You just said the American economy is immigrant.
You said that. I never said that.
What did you say then, Andre?
I never said immigration equals tetherism.
I didn't say you said that part. I said that what you're saying is that the American economy somehow and the unequal disbursement of resources somehow excuses these immigrants from being a tether?
I'm not trying to disagree with y'all or you, Marcel. It seems like you're looking for me to disagree about why tethers are bad. I don't disagree about why tethers are bad. I've already brought that up in my initial submission there. I was saying, what are we going to do in the context of the system that we have?
We're getting them out of here. That's why Trump's in office. That's why Trump's in office. We're getting them out of here. We are getting them out of here. That's what we're going to do, and make sure they never come back. And then maybe you can go. Then maybe you can go to their countries and you can help them implement this economic system that's supposed to solve all of their problems. What economic system is going to solve all of their problems, Andre? Tell me. Give me an example. Give me an example of a country that has an economic system that we should have. Please do.
See, what I'm getting from this is that we're trivializing economics, and we shouldn't.
Andre, I asked you a question. I'm not trivializing it. I'm asking you for more information. What country
being heavy on the
has
button?
What? Yeah, because you're not going to overtalk me. You're not going to overtalk me. What country?
I'm happy to talk about it, but you don't.
What country has an economic system that would work and address all these problems? Yes, I am.
Answer the question, man.
You just keep. I'm trying to. He keeps muting me and
answer the question.
You long-winded, Andre. Just get to the question, man.
What country has this ideal economic system? You are being long-winded. Please get to the point. What country?
Okay, so I don't appreciate the bad faith question. I'm not talking.
How is it a bad faith question? How is it a bad faith question? You came up here talking about the American economy, how it contributes to tetherism. I'm asking you, which economic system would address these issues? Can you point to a country that has this ideal economic system? Please identify the country. What country?
Okay, so I'm going to start talking, and then you're going to mute me because I don't give you the answer you want fast enough. And you got a lot of people laughing about it But it's kind of sad because I'm just talking here about something from a different perspective. You asked me what economic system that's perfect and ideal that I
I
suggest.
didn't say perfect. I said ideal, and I asked for the country that has the system.
Okay, ideal is perfect. You're being
No, it's not. No, it's not. It means good enough. It does
Ideal
not
means
mean perfect.
perfect,
It does
brother.
not
You're
mean
being
perfect.
argumentative
No,
now.
no, 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 no,
And-
no, 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 no. Ideal does not mean perfect. If someone says I'm looking for my ideal wife or my ideal husband, that doesn't mean they're looking for a perfect man or a perfect woman. They're looking for
Okay,
a person
now
who
we're
meets
getting
their
into
qualities.
semantics.
What is the
Marcel.
country, Andre?
This is about you getting into
You should
semantics.
know.
Andre, what's the country? What's the economic system? Please identify it, and I'm going to unmute you. Get to the point. If you can't get to the point, you're going to get dropped.
I'm
Get
trying
to the
to
point.
talk. You keep muting me.
If this much bastard don't get up out of here, you wasting people's time. Just answer Marcel's question. Or did you get dropped on your head?
He doesn't need a cheerleader, brother. You're not the co-host. I'm a
Answer the
He's the
grown-ass
question.
man,
co-host.
so
Answer the
please have
question,
some
bro.
respect. I don't know if they're teaching you to be disrespectful to people.
Watch your mouth when you're talking, homeboy, and quit talking about a co-host when you the co-host. Okay, that's you and your partner. Okay, y'all the co-hosts. All right. So answer my brother's question and quit complaining about the mute, because what you're really doing is you're using the mute button as some type of excuse why you can't answer what our brother said, because what you said was bullshit. Okay, so yes or no, left or right, up or down, answer the question directly. I don't want to hear about the mute button. I don't want to hear about what EJ's told you. Talk your talk directly, brother, because it sounds like you don't have an answer.
That's what I'm starting to get, Andre. You don't have an answer. What's
Okay.
the country, Andre? Say the country, please.
That's a bad faith question. I'm not about to rant.
So you don't
Got all
have
that
one.
mouth, but
So
don't
you don't
answer
have
the
I'm not going to
question.
name
You don't
any
have
Wasting our
one.
time, man.
You don't have one. You don't have one. You don't have one. You're making me sound like Medea up here. Okay? You don't have one. You don't have a country. So therefore, there's no excuse for being a tether. Everyone is in a country that doesn't have a perfect economic system, and yet somehow we don't become bigoted, we don't become xenophobic, we don't work against the interests of others. The tethers come here and they do exactly that. There is no excuse for them because there is no country that has an ideal economic system. You can go to countries that have a socialistic model, a communistic model. They still have issues dealing with poverty. Okay, there's no perfect economic system. That's not an excuse for tetherism. That's my point exactly. And by the way, America has no issue generating extreme amounts of wealth. The distribution of the wealth is the problem. But America did that deliberately. That is not something inherent with capitalism. That is something inherent where America implemented centuries of black codes in Jim Crow to prevent us from the wealth that's due to us. If we get our reparations, we'll do just fine underneath this capitalistic system. And the tethers don't mind this capitalistic system, Andre. That's why they're here. If they didn't like this capitalistic system, they would have gone to Vietnam. They would have gone to Russia. They would have gone to Venezuela. They would have gone to Cuba. They will go to China in larger numbers. But instead, they're flooding here to America. That's how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris invaded us with 20 million illegals. They love this capitalistic system. It's a system that we built, and we would have been doing just fine. We would have been flourishing had we received the wealth that's due to us. That's why we're fighting for reparations. So, Andre, you're making a non-point. Say your last words if I drop you, please. And don't make your last words whining about the mute button. Would not have been muted if you would have answered the question instead of whining about being muted because you was trying to ignore the question. You didn't have an answer.
All right. Well, I mean, maybe people in the room are convinced by your rendition of how capitalism works in the United States, but I'm not, because I studied it and I actually know what I'm talking about.
No,
when
you
I talk.
haven't.
Well, if you know so much, then go to these countries for where these people are fleeing, implement the economic system there. It's a win-win. You get to show your genius, and they will have a perfect economic system, so they wouldn't be flooding here underneath our economic system. If our economic system is so flawed, then why the hell are they here underneath it? And I'm not saying things can't be better. I'm not saying things
That's
can't
all
be
I'm
better.
saying.
But why
We can
are they
agree on
here
that.
underneath our capitalistic system? If it's
All right,
so
well,
flawed.
That's the best thing you could have said at the end. I agree with you. I think things can be better too. That's literally all my argument is.
And I want things to be
economic
better.
system.
I want things to be better for them in their homeland.
Yes, the world is full of various homelands, and we want the best for everybody. I agree.
And
But
I mean,
the
you know who I want. You know who I want the best for?
involves
No, you know who
everybody.
I want the best for?
Mhm.
Primarily, my people first and foremost. Andre, are you
Mhm.
foundational Black American?
So you gotta put it in context here.
No, no. Andre, are you a foundational Black American?
Now, by the way, his
I
hairline
am.
and his profile picture is looking, I can't
I
tell.
am.
No.
But I think
No. Hell no. Andre, answer my question. Are you a foundational Black American? That means, do you have the ancestry of the people who were emancipated from American slavery? Yes or no, please, Andre?
Yes, I am.
Hold on now. From where are your people from?
Yes, sir. I know you're from the South, so I know you would know. And you're right.
Where, Andre? Where's your family from?
From the Carolinas.
Carolina
Why do you think I'm in this space? Why do you think I'm tolerating all
because
this?
you wanna advocate for tethers. That's why you're in this space. Oh
That's
God.
not what I'm saying.
Oh my goodness. We got more alpha. We got another one up here. Whereas Andre is obsessed with this economic stuff, we have another one up here who capes for tethers all the time. He just entered the room. Okay, Andre, you go ahead and find a nation. Andre, you go ahead and find a nation where you can implement your economic intellect.
Can I lay my plane?
And maybe the people won't feel the need to flee here and work against us. And by the way, Andre, wait, hold on. Before I go any further, this is not necessarily an immigration conversation as much as is a tether conversation. The immigration conversation is another conversation. Are they related? Yes, they are. This is a tether conversation. You could immigrate to the United States of America and not work against Black Americans, freemen. It is possible. We're talking about people who work against us. An economic system that is flawed is no excuse for working against us. That's BS. And the economic system is not too flawed, or they wouldn't be coming here. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a minute now.
You can't land your plane, drop down.
Look,
go ahead
it's not too flawed to stop immigration from places like the United States where there's a lot of wealth. So I don't know what kind of argument you're making. It seems like you're on the fence about whether we need to really do something about it. It could be better. It's a place to start. I think once you look at what economics has to offer in terms of the insight it provides,
Andre,
I think you were. Oh man, damn,
Andre, you've been saying the plane's been landed. The plane's been landed. You said this already for the past 5 minutes. Outside of complaining about the microphone being muted, we are moving on. Okay, Boykin, you have it.
Thank you.
Boykin, you have
it. Thank God. It's my best.
Boykin, it's on you.
Andre's babble done messed up Boykin's signal. Shame on you, Andre. Coward.
Yes, it did.
Okay, I hear you.
Hold on. I got the floor. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I got the floor.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Let me tell you something about economics and immigration. All right. It was A. Philip Randolph, the labor leader of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters. He said this back in 1929, and he said it again at the New Negro Congress in 1950. The reason why we should keep and maintain the immigration quotas is that immigration, unrestricted, undermines the economic structure and economic systems that Black Americans built. It takes away from our wealth building, wealth generating abilities. But you know why? Because they dump the immigrants in Black communities all the time. Because of what? Segregation. These immigrants, whether they come from Africa or Asia or the Caribbean, anywhere else, they can't go live in white communities because the whites have always had the political and social and economic clout to restrict red line and restricted covenants, keep these people out. That's why they have their own separate Chinatowns, Koreatowns, Little Italy, Little Brazil, and all these other places. Okay? Immigration to white supremacists is a boon to them because not only do they get money off of these immigrants, they get Black money. They extract our labor and our capital and restrict our access to economic wealth building opportunities within and without our communities.
Sister Boykin and everybody in the room, I just want to say one thing and I'll go mute again. Illegal migrants, illegal people coming into this country are not immigrants. Immigration is a legal process. People who just bring us across the Rio Grande are not immigrants. They have us talking like, see, immigrants have some legal rights. Migrants don't. We had 20 million people come to this country that don't have any rights, and they've been given practically the rights to citizenship under the guise that they were immigrants or they are people fleeing political persecution. It's garbage. They're not immigrants. If you look, my passport expired almost a year ago. I've got to renew it. I can't travel, go anywhere without it because that's the proper way to travel. They know whether I've gone to jail. They know my age. They know all of that. Anyone coming into your country without verifying and being vetted is an invader. And that means they put the barbarians in our neighborhoods. They're not immigrants. When you come to this country unlawfully, you're a felon. You've drowned our community in criminality. And those folks bring drugs and all kinds of stuff. They are not immigrants. A huge number of these people we're dealing with aren't even here legally. The shower posse people weren't legal. These folks from Cité Soleil in Haiti that are shooting people did not come here legally. They are not immigrants. They are invaders. And so anyone talking about, in particular, economics, you won't have an economic system if your country is invaded and overrun by people who don't care about the culture. These are barbarian invasions of our country. I don't care what color they are. If you don't come here legally, your ass doesn't belong here.
Exactly. Oh boy.
Amen. Let me just make this point. Let me get in just real quick. Let me get in just real quick. Illegal aliens have no constitutional protections, period, end of discussion. Okay? When people claim that they're asylum seekers, I just bust them all the time. I tell them, no, you're not. You know why? Because an asylum seeker has asylum before they step foot in this country. Having asylum is a designated and very specific legal class. If you have asylum, you have a specific card and you have paperwork that proves that you have legal asylum. All the rest of this mythology is nothing but garbage. They open the floodgates, let these barbarians come in and tear up the place.
And to destroy and erase Black people. It is a human rights crime to engage in human right and population replacement. We are being exterminated by illegals, by barbarians. These are not immigrants. And we have to get that word immigrant out of our mouths.
Illegals is as illegals does. Illegal aliens. That is the legal term. It's also in the Constitution. Illegal aliens.
And that's what I've been using more. Instead of saying illegal immigrant, now I'm saying illegal aliens.